Welcome back, everybody. So I want to talk about the Suikoden HD Remasters again today. And specifically, I want to go over changes both big and small that I think should be made to these remasters that would result in a better gaming experience for both titles. But before that, let's quickly go over the changes we know about. First off, the environments have been greatly touched up. There's new lighting and shading effects all over the place. There's new character portraits for all the characters in the first game. There's new field sounds. You can hear your character's footsteps. You can hear running water now, insects, and all the battle sounds have been touched up as well. Everything from using regular attacks to using rune magic. And then there's some straight up new additions to the game. There's the dialogue log, auto battle feature, double speed battles, mini map, and more. But I want to go over some of the things that maybe haven't been announced and that I think would make both these games better if they are added. The first thing that I think should be added to both these games, and it was supposed to be in the second game, is New Game Plus. These games are made for New Game Plus. Across the whole series, there's so many cool characters that you get from mid to late game. I would love it if we could go through these great games with all of the Stars of Destiny from the very beginning and pick whatever party we want. I don't think anyone would complain with that option. Especially since these games are not super long RPGs, especially by today's standards. They are very easy to digest and play through multiple times, which I have, and I'm sure many of you have too. And of course, with New Game Plus, things like money, weapons, character levels, etc., should be part of the New Game Plus feature too. But it should be allowed for the player to decide what specifically they want to carry over, because that would help maybe with some gameplay balance issues on a subsequent playthrough. And speaking of gameplay balance, that brings me to my next point. Added difficulty modes. The Suikoden games are so easy. They're so goddamn easy. The first one was a little hard for me at like 11 or 12 years old, but nowadays they present virtually no challenge at all. Which I mean is kind of a nice thing. You can have any party composition you want of any characters and you can pretty much beat the game with them. But I think a lot of us would at least like to have the option of a more difficult experience. If I could ask for any two things, it would probably be these two. Being able to play the game from the very beginning to the very end with all the characters I want to, and potentially having a decent gameplay challenge to go with it. Oh, that sounds like a dream come true. And that's exactly what Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is promising as well. So I think that would be a really good implementation on the developer's part, but that might be asking a lot. But there is one little thing that also needs to be changed for the dream of having all the characters you want to play as from the very beginning to the very end of the game, and that is the convoy system. So it was introduced in Suikoden II, but it wasn't exactly perfect yet. And what this convoy system would allow us to do is to put all these story-centric characters on the backbench so you can pick the characters you want to bring with you in your main party. Specifically Suikoden I. It's the greatest offender when it comes to inserting story mandatory characters into your party and not being able to take them out. And so that needs to happen in order for a New Game Plus with all the Stars of Destiny at the very beginning to truly shine. So while those are the three biggest, there's a ton of other little changes too. There's Jupo's wheel in Suikoden I, where you can be trapped on it from anywhere to 5 to 30 minutes. That thing is so random, it's insane. It can definitely stop your momentum dead in its track in Suikoden I. So if they could change up the RNG with that, that would go a long way. Clive's quest in Suikoden II, it's a timed quest, so you gotta rush through a good part of the game in order to see his storyline play through. And when it was revealed that New Game Plus was scrapped for Suikoden II, a lot of people kind of looked to this as an example of, oh, this must have been meant for like a New Game Plus playthrough. You don't have to focus on recruiting all the characters again, so it would be much more easier to do on a subsequent playthrough with all the Stars of Destiny already recruited. So it would be great if they could just remove the timer from that quest. A lot of people can see that storyline to its conclusion, and it's one of the better subplots in the game revolving a character that's not particularly main story centric. And speaking of Suikoden 2, the army battles. The army battles in Suikoden 2, while I love them, it's really hard to know sometimes if your attacks are going to do anything to an opposing army unit or not. It'd be nice if we could get some kind of percentage indicator to see kind of what our combat abilities are like, or if they would just kind of tweak the RNG a little bit to make things a little bit more cut and dry in terms of what your abilities can or cannot do. I just remember so many times attacking units with everything I had and just the off hope that maybe I could get lucky and strike a killing blow. So that's something I think that could help improve the army battles in Suikoden II. A lot of them are fairly heavily scripted, and I don't think you can do anything about that, but I think you can maybe make the RNG a bit better. And then there's Suikoden I's inventory system that could be tweaked up a little bit. In Suikoden I, your characters have individual item bags that must have the items and equipment they use in them, forcing you to constantly manage their individual inventories, which really eats up your time. So this fix would be a nice little time saver if implemented. Maybe the possibility of changing characters out in the field. I know that kind of makes at least one or two characters redundant because the whole point of their purpose in the castle is going to talk to them so you can change your characters. But that would be nice instead of having to run back to the castle all the time to do that. And the last thing that comes to mind is I know there's already an auto battle feature in double speed battles, but maybe a fast forward feature out on the field as well, because man, recruiting those squirrels in Suikoden II could take a hell of a long time. So a field fast forward would just really help with that because I'm a completionist and I always have to recruit everybody. Are there any other changes you all think should be made to the Suikoden I and II HD Remaster that would make it a better gaming experience? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree, disagree, have any concerns? Let me know as always, everybody, and I'll see you soon.